I'm very well, Andy, and I'm very pleased to be on this show because you are one of the, and there wasn't many of us, alternative media news that have helped us promote this particular election petition.
Just very briefly, for a couple of minutes, just for the uninitiated or people who haven't followed this story, just go back a couple of months, because we've got the where you stood in a Runcorn and Helsby by-election. We know that Sarah Posham has returned as the MP. You very quickly identified, let's say, irregularities, to keep it as simple as possible, within the voting process. There was a hearing in London to determine whether two hearings in London to determine whether a trial would be granted to, sort this mess out. And half an hour ago, you received some news regarding that. So you take it from there.
So the biggest part of this, and to the audience, there were 4 respondents, and that is the head of the Royal Mail, because leaflets were not delivered, etc. The Chief Constable of Cheshire, because they had interfered with our campaigning and had not investigated election fraud or irregularities, which they're supposed to do. There is the returning officer for returning, which we believe is a fraudulent return, and there is Sarah Posham. So I was up against basically 2 King's Councils. They was all trying to strike out the petition. An election petition means, if granted, means 2 High Court judges travel to Runcorn and Helsby on behalf of the people of Runcorn and Helsby. 2 High Court judges listen to what's gone on, right? And that basically, they can then either, or do both. They can ask for a recount, a full individual recount, meaning not a bundle count, right? So in other words, they look at every single vote again, a full recount, or at the end of that process, they can decide there needs to be a new election. Right, so they'll make sure that it's a new election, because there's so much skullduggery gone on. It isn't what's known in law as a free and pure election. So therefore, there needs to be another one. Right. Cut a long story short, I was up against 2 King's Councils, 2 barristers, and an army of solicitors. And just to make sure your audience know this, for almost a day and a half, they was arguing to strike out the petition. They are terrified of this coming before 2 judges, and the end result is I won.